Good afternoon to presidents present and past, to commissioners, to ministers, friends, colleagues, executives, all of you. Let me say thank you, because this has been a long afternoon. I'm the last speaker on the last program, and you're all still here. Thank you. I expected to be talking to an empty room, I gotta tell you. So, every day, WFP works to help save lives. And people would say, then why are you here? We're not talking about humanitarian work. I accepted Agra's invitation to speak because WFP is also part of the team that is in the business of helping change lives. And that is the only way that we begin to move from saving the same lives every single rainy season, is by ensuring that we develop the agricultural systems that will support the economic opportunity to, as so many speakers here today have said, move farmers from subsistence to business people. But the reality is, as you've heard this from every speaker, no one organization, no one entity, not even government, Mr. President, can do this by themselves. It will take partnerships and all of us working together. So we share the commitment of African agriculture demonstrated by every organization that has spoken here today, every leader that has spoken here today. And WFP, giving commitments, stands here committed to exploring new partnerships and leveraging new synergies to achieve our shared goal. And so we commit to partnering with all of you to ensure that we no longer just save lives every year. Instead, in the spirit of the Sustainable Development Agenda and Africa's own 2063 agenda, we will provide assistance that transcends the divide between humanitarian relief and sustainable development. We will reach out to those furthest behind to enhance food security and support the growth of economic prosperity. We commit that we will continue to strengthen our portfolio of food and cash-based transfers when we are responding to crises and emergencies when they do occur, but we'll do it differently. We'll use cash-based transfers to support that financial inclusion of those that we serve, to get them into the system that will allow them to begin to save and to access resources that will move them to a different space and help build the resilience that is required in rural communities. We talk about creating agricultural markets that are sustainable and durable, but we need to have consumers who have access to cash that they can purchase from those markets. So in addition, we commit to supporting the development of country-level instruments to foster resilience, such as the African Union's Africa Risk Capacity, where we work with Commissioner Rhoda Peace to support the development of a sovereign disaster insurance pool, when now 32 nations have signed on to the ARC Treaty. And I see Judith smiling and nodding because it was she and my predecessor, Josette Sheeran, who started this journey with the African Risk Capacity insurance tool. And now, over the past 2 years, we have 32 nations signed up and 7 countries who are receiving over $300 million in coverage, and Kenya is one of those countries. WFP pledges to support those countries that have demonstrated their commitment to ARC by renewing their policies for the 3rd consecutive year, and we're working with donors to purchase what we call replica policies, which means that we buy policies alongside their policies to increase and leverage and scale up what resources are available during times of crisis. And we commit to supporting the post-harvest losses that Judith discussed. With our partners IFAD and FAO, in Uganda, where we initiated our first program, after one season, we saw 97% reduction in post-harvest losses with the right training, with the right access to the right tools. Imagine this. The annual loss from post-harvest mishandling and the waste that occurs and the loss that occurs exceeds the amount of all the food aid that we bring onto the continent every year. So if we could just eliminate the 40% of loss, we're talking about the ability, again, of Africa to feed itself. So we're committing to working with partners, including the Rockefeller Foundation and governments, to support that work. Another tool that I'm very proud to commit to today is the patient procurement platform. The patient procurement platform is another example of a successful consortium. This has been launched to clear away the structural barriers that everybody talks about, the lack of access to finance for smallholder farmers, the lack of access to insurance, the lack of access to training and seeds, and bringing all the tools simultaneously on a platform to farmers that they can access that will increase their quality and quantity of their yields, but also give them access to markets. And so I am here today on behalf of the initial partners for the patient procurement platform with WFP, the Alliance for a Green Revolution in Africa, Bayer, the Grow Africa, the IFC, Rabobank, Syngenta, and the Yara International Corporation. And on behalf of our partners, I voice our commitment to invest in African agriculture through the patient procurement platform. And what does WFP bring into this party? We purchase approximately $1.2 billion each year in agricultural products. We're committing 10% or 120 million of that every year now to smallholder farmers, that we will be purchasing from smallholder farmers. And we will use that 120 million to catalyze the demand from private sector. Because if a farmer just is depending upon WFP to buy, as a voluntarily funded organization, it's not a very reliable and durable market. But what it can do, we can leverage that buy from WFP to take the risk out that will bring private sector to the table. And in the first year since the platform was launched in 2015, 11 buyers have signed contracts with 57,000 farmers in Rwanda, Tanzania, and Zambia. Our aim collectively is to boost the productivity and incomes of 1 million farmers in 19 African countries over the next 3 years. And the platform's early success demonstrates that smallholder farmers can achieve commercial viability. That when we talk about moving from subsistence to business people, that it's more than theory. That when you bring all of the tools to overcome the structural challenges, it becomes reality. And we can do that for farmers. In the first year, we've seen in Tanzania alone an increase in farmer productivity by 50%. We've seen 57,000 farmers, as I said, who were part of the program. But more importantly, we have 50,000 farmers in Tanzania alone, who will participate in the November harvest program with 11 buyers purchasing from those smallholder farmers, which represents 60% of the entire maize market in Tanzania. What that is about is called scalability, and it's called sustainability. And that's what we need to make these programs work. So we're committed to expanding the platform to 4 other African countries in 2017. Mr. President, Kenya is one of those countries where we will bring the program next year. So I look to my friend from the Kenya Bank to say, Rabobank is at the table, where are you? And we are hopeful that we can count you as part of the Kenya patient procurement platform to support the funds that are necessary to support Kenyan farmers so that you can outdo Tanzania and what's happening in Rwanda. We know you can. So ladies and gentlemen, it's been a long day. Let me say again, thank you to you for your commitment to African agriculture development by your presence in the room at this late hour, and by the work that you do outside this room on a regular basis. We must break down the silos between all of our organizations and between the work that happens at government level and the work that happens in communities. The reality is that as I started, where I started, I'll end, is that no one organization can do this alone. But working together, we can make a green revolution in Africa a reality and not a slogan. Working together, we can deliver not what we want, but what those we serve need from us, require from us. We can help move the continent forward because every speaker has said this, that without the agricultural improvements that we all can outline clearly with or without our notes, we cannot move the continent forward. In the spirit of Nelson Mandela, who said, "It always seems impossible until it is done," let's get an African agricultural revolution done. Thank you.